Welcome.
Hey guys. Hi. Hi, sorry I'm late.
Hey, Juefang,
I'm
how are
good.
you?
Hi. Good. How are you guys?
Good, good. So I'll kick off, but I think Axel is actually going to drive much of the conversation today. Welcome to Neo Show. Neo is the AI native browser, and on a weekly basis, we invite founders, entrepreneurs, sometimes investors in the AI area to talk about AI, not just AI native browser. But I also heard that you already downloaded a Neo browser. You may have, one or two things to share with us. I'll get to that. You can get to that. But the reason we invited you is, when you and I had a chat about a month or two ago, I was really, really fascinated. I was fascinated because you are a director, a producer, right? Emmy nominated director. But I didn't feel like I was talking to a director. I felt like I was talking to an engineer. You were talking about tech stack, right? This and that. I'm pretty sure you are going to, share with our audience more here. But then, I felt like, wow, it's not just that their browser is going to be disrupted. It's not just, certain software is going to be disrupted. The film is going to be disrupted by AI. Maybe fast, maybe slow. That's something we would love to hear your thoughts. So anyway, we invited you because not because, of course, everyone loves Hollywood, the film, but the primary reason is what's the impact of AI to that industry? And yeah, so let's go from here. But if you have one or two things to say about AI native browser Neo, feel free.
Sure. Yeah, I have the honor to try the browser Neo like just this week, and I find it very fascinating because I love the design, first of all, because as a creator, I love anything that's pretty. So that's sort of the first thing we all look at the beginning. And also like I like how organized this browser is. So it's sort of like organize all my tabs into different categories, which is like the first time I saw a browser does that. So I really like that function as well. And I think the most useful tool that for me is like for when I watch YouTube videos, this browser actually summarize um, the key points of the videos and even ask some questions. They have some prompt questions at the bottom of the chatbot, and I can always like click on those, or I can even chat with the agent. I suppose that's the agent on the spot. So I think I find that very efficient while watching something on YouTube because nowadays I'm using YouTube a lot for learning a lot of things about AI because I'm not from tech background, so I'm watching a lot of like AI videos on YouTube. So with like an AI tool just on the side, just like feel like I have a teacher or professor just by my side, just telling me a lot of things I'm actually not sure about. So yeah, I'm very fascinated about this
Good
product.
to hear that. So the next Emmy Award is going to be powered by Neo, right?
Okay. I love that. Yes.
Okay, so now let's get to the film stuff. Maybe we can start with just that you talk about your background briefly,
Sure.
and then, tell us anything and everything about AI. And I'm pretty sure Excel is going to, have tons of questions along the way. So let's
Sure.
go from here.
Great. Hey guys, I'm Juefang. You can also call me JF. So I studied film directing from NYU Tisch, and after graduation, I moved to LA to work in Hollywood for about 6 years. I was working as a producer, creative executive, and also distribution executive. So I was also like overseeing the whole production pipeline for filmmaking in Hollywood. And as myself, I have been nominated for the Emmys for my feature films, and I was also working on Oscar shortlist works and Sundance official selection works as well. So over the past few years, I have seen um, the peak, sort of the peak of Hollywood, and then I see a decline of Hollywood over the years. So, and especially after COVID and after the strike from the unions, and there's really stall in all the productions in Hollywood, and even a lot of my friends they can't really find a job in Hollywood, and a lot of them they actually turn to something called the micro dramas, which is like a vertical micro dramas you watch on TikTok or on Real Short. So that has been popular, but those content doesn't really have like a lifespan. So it's not like an IP. So, but you can't really find other, film jobs in LA. So, and because a lot of productions have moved to Europe or Mexico, and you don't really have physical productions in LA most of the time. So, and that's when I actually turned to AI to see, if this new tool, this technology can help us, not necessarily replacing us, but actually helping us at this moment, because I think the decline of Hollywood is not really because of the technology. It's really like a revolutionary like time, just like when like movies shot on films was replaced by digitals, and also like when films replaced theater work. So I feel like now is sort of the time that because of all the um increasing, demand for short form content like TikToks, all of these new social media platform coming up. So you people like they sort of change their habits of going to the theaters, like even in the US. So there's still like a decline of moviegoers attendance by about 14 to 38% compared to pre-COVID. So there's really a like shift in everyone's habits of watching content. So I think even before AI, there's already a shift, and I think people were sort of waiting for a way out. So what's the next? So we're all waiting, and now we have AI. All the AIGC tools can really help us produce contents at very lower cost and not necessarily requiring a lot of like professional crews or years of trainings. It's really lowered the barriers of entry for a lot of people. Like nowadays, like anyone with an idea, you can literally become a director, as long as you know how to use the tools, and the tools are pretty like easy to pick up. So I feel that we're entering the next era for content.
And when do you think, just based off the chat, we have someone wondering, when do you think it will become like a point where it's 100% AI? Do you think that would ever arrive, and if so, when?
I don't think 100%. So like by 100% AI meaning all the contents we're seeing are AI generated, or
Probably, yeah, probably. Yeah.
um, I don't think so because I don't fully believe in AGI.
Mm.
Maybe because I'm still resisting that, because I think even though AI can replace some of the production work, like pipelines, maybe like production cycles or some of the um like really hands-on production part, but I don't think AI can replace human creativity. Because I feel like we have, as human beings, we have a lot of unpredictable inspirations, and all those moments are very, very crucial and precious. And I don't see AI can do that. And because even though we have a lot of really good AI tools, like every month you have new stuff coming up, but you still need someone who have a good taste, someone who knows how to tell a story, to use these tools. So it still requires like people to have those professionalism and ability to try these. So yeah, I don't think AI will be
Mm.
fully, taking over.
Okay, if AI is going to keep cutting down the costs and reduce the barrier to entry, you think it will never accomplish the sort of innate storytelling human aspect? Do you think that taste is not going to arrive?
I think it can be evolved. But maybe to a certain degree, it can be trained, because people will set a benchmark for the AI, and then they train the AI become agents. So the agent can also have the ability to have a benchmark for the work we sort of like import back into the system. So, but I feel like that part is might takes a long time to achieve, because we don't really see anything is really happening now. Like, yeah, because like for to analyze a video, it still requires a lot of tokens nowadays. I think only a few companies can achieve that, like for now. Yeah.
Okay, so then right now, if it's helping sort of reduce the cost, where particularly? Because I guess the taste is still entirely human and up to you, but then where can we leverage the technology to speed things up?
So, so for example, I have my friend has an animation studio in Shanghai. They did an animation called哪吒, and which is actually playing in the US right now. So, they actually letting go some of the junior animators in the company. It's because a lot of work, especially for pre-visualization, all of this work can be done by AI. So, but they still have their senior animators in the company. So nowadays they can only cut maybe a little bit of the pipeline, for the production.
Okay, okay. And then in terms of the IP, I suppose if we believe that one day AI will become maybe a significant, very significant contributor to a film, how do you believe people are going to be properly credited?
Um, I would say like so. For all the people who sort of like I mean the creators of this AI work, there are still sort of credits in the traditional way. And if I'm getting this correct, like are you asking how the creators are credited or how
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think that's the same as traditional filmmaking. Like you just put down the credits for director, producer, or animators on the list. Yeah.
And are there any tools right now that you think are particularly valuable or to be leveraged today in a good form?
You mean for AIGC tools?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm also like making AI short films. So for me, I'm using definitely Midjourney and also VO3 and also Flux. So these three are sort of my top three tools that I use to generate content. But there is no like one stop one stop solution yet. So you still have to like hop around with different kind of tools trying to find the one that suits you the best.
And are you using those more for inspiration, perhaps, once you have an idea, or what's the sort of workflow like?
Yeah, so for me, I'm trying to create a mini series. Because as we talked about, like for production, like Hollywood production, it was always expensive. So it takes years to actually raise fundings to tell your story. So for me as a creator, I think one of my biggest problems was to tell my stories, to show people my story. And I think that's hardest part. But then I think AI could help me on that nowadays because I don't need to raise funds. I don't have to wait for decades to get my product funded. I could just like subscribe the tools and I can just, like do all of that by myself and maybe within 2 months, 3 months. So I think that's really helpful on that. So with the tools, for example, the miniseries, animation miniseries I'm working on, I use Midjourney to do my character design, and also Midjourney has the video function now. You can sort of see what the video looks like later, using Midjourney to do pre-visualization, and I'm using Flux to really keep my character consistency. I think Flux is actually one of the best tools I use so far. And then I use VO3 to have dialogues, to have the whole video play out because on VO3 you can precisely control the seconds. That you can literally say like from this first second to the third second to have this girl like walking in this room and at the fourth second and she leaves the room and it can be very precise. So I think VO3 is really getting there.
And I know that sort of to develop a full Hollywood film, it could take millions of dollars of production. And, perhaps in your case where you leverage particular tools, it can really reduce that cost. But to what extent? Like, what's the ratio? How much more efficient is the new era of filmmaking?
Yeah. So I want to discuss about what is the new era of filmmaking because in the past we go to the theaters to watch the films, but nowadays there's a huge decline of moviegoers. So are we still going to go to the theaters in the future, or is film going to become like a theater work, become one of those like arts, like really art forms, not commercial, um, you know, f- products anymore. So that's sort of thing I'm also having a lot of discussions with friends. And I personally, I don't see long form content still gonna last that long. I mean, it's still gonna be there, but I don't think it's gonna be as popular as before. So for me, and then I start to think, okay, so what's the next? So how do we distribute our content, our stories next? Because it doesn't really matter what kind of medium, it's changed because over the years, it's always changing the medium, but the good stories always stay. So the IP, the story still stays. So it doesn't really matter what kind of forms we're gonna use. So That's why I'm thinking like social media is really has a wave right nowadays, and it doesn't require a lot of barriers to have the distribution. So that's why thinking like for I could just like publish my own work on social media, all platforms with a very low cost. And as long as you're constantly creating good content, you can have large audience, and from that onwards, you have our IP, and then you can make into game, TV shows, or film, or merch, or anything like later. So I guess just another way of creating an IP.
Okay, so then is that what excites you most, or where do you think, sort of in the coming years, do you think it's going to be a point where it's highly leveraged on social media and that's really the future, or what
I
excites
think
you
it's
most?
already leveraging on social media a lot. So, I mean, there's no way comparing to like pre-COVID, all the data is like the moviegoers or the number of films we make each year is all declining. Like even in like about 2 months ago, like Warner Brothers has laid off 1,000 employees, and even like very like boutique studios like Monkey Pow, they laid off all their development executives early this year. Like you can see there's a huge trend of big firms are cutting down sizes this year, and it's not only this year, it's from last year. So like, but the thing is like in Hollywood, people are still resisting AI because of unions and because of all the like all the issues about ethics. And so I think people are very curious, but then they're also afraid of AI taking over their jobs. And but for me, I don't see AI taking over my jobs, but I really see AI is a democratization tool to help every creator to tell their stories to the world. It's not only for a small group of closed doors people to tell their stories. Now it's for everyone. Like if you have idea, if you write a journal, you can turn into a video, you can turn into a short film or like a multi-series films. So yeah, I think that's really the trend, and I'm very excited for that.
Very interesting. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to let us know, or throw them in the chat. We'll be excited to answer them. Um, so you really believe as a democratizing force for those that are currently, let's say working at Netflix, Warner Brothers, etc. Do you see them breaking off to go pursue their own independent ventures to find success, or do you think that at a high level, it will become just sort of film companies of a very small number who just sort of leverage AI and efficiency to cut down on the costs?
So I think at the early stage, definitely like big firms, they're gonna use AI to cut down the cost. Actually, I heard about like companies like Netflix, they have been using AI to train models, train their own systems since like 3 years ago or even before that. So like all the companies, I'm sure they all have their AI teams because you can't. I mean, if you don't have it, you're gonna lose the game nowadays. But a lot of creators are still hesitating from Hollywood because of the all the issues about AI in Hollywood. They're still resisting. And but I think from like company side, they're gonna maybe like reduce costs bit by bit. And I'm also curious about how Hollywood gonna accept this in the end, because if every other place is really creating contents with the tool, and I'm sure like if they can't get more jobs in Hollywood, then they have to turn into something else.
Mm, okay. And then on the point of where it stands as of today, of course, as technology improves, perhaps people will leverage it more. But are there any particular examples perhaps people here can go watch, or ones you'd recommend in which we can see where the technology is as of today? Maybe some good examples where AI was a primary contributor, script, from a script perspective, perhaps, or beyond that.
So I think from script wise, I don't believe the current AI tools can write very good script. As have said, like I think people still have to create, still have to write. So it can replace production, but it can't replace writing. Like for writing, it takes years for you to like polish your drafts. And then me, like I've written several feature scripts, always take me at least 2 years to finish one script. And I think that process can be replaced, and I'm a strong believer on that. I don't think AI can replace a lot of creativity or original ideas. But I think some, if you're asking some good movies that's completely done by AI. I know there's a first movie done came out early this year, but from Singapore, but it's I think that's still sort of like experiment. So we're all like at early stage. I haven't seen any like very mature or high quality films come out yet, but I have seen some very good short films or trailers that have been done by AI. For example, David Clark, and he's a pretty well-known AIGC filmmaker. He has done some very impressive work with AI, and I can't really tell it was made by AI because it was too real. Yeah.
But that was a short form video, right?
Yeah, short videos because you can only do some concept art, a concept like videos. You can't really um tell the whole story yet because there are still issues about character consistency or your setting environment consistency. So all of these is still a little bit tricky to solve. And we're not really creating in a 3D space. So we're still like sort of doing like text to image and image to video or text to video. So it's still like based on the prompts. And so that's, like that's part still a little bit like hard to grasp around. But I think that can be solved later. It's just one of those tech issues they're gonna solve eventually. But I feel like a lot of good storytellers they're not in the game yet. So that's why we don't have as many good contents with AI um now. So I feel like maybe later if there's the storytellers are coming into the game, I'm sure there's gonna be a eruption of good content later.
Yeah. So for me to understand one thing, because you were talking about fundraising. So is the following understanding correct? So if you want to do any, long video or film, you need to first raise. In the past, you need to first raise money, do some prototype, and then convince someone, and then people like it, and then they will do the bigger investment to do the long form video.
Yeah.
Now. At least technically speaking, you can just leverage AI without raising the funding, and then just produce that prototype. And then people may like it or may not like it. If people like it,
Yeah.
they make a bigger investment to do this,
Yeah.
2 hour, 1 hour thing. That's kind of what you're saying here. And then do you believe that that's already happening, pretty much everywhere, or you feel like that's like for you are what you are ahead of the curve thinking about that way, but the vast majority is still doing the old way, old fashioned? I'm just curious what's going on.
Um, so for pre-visualization, I think it was already started like since last year or the year before. Because for me, I've been using AI to create my deck, my proof of concept arts since last year, and I even won the best picture award from Fantasia International Film Festival, the Frontiers Market last year in Canada. So like I also saw a lot of my like my friends they're using AI to create, especially to create previous arts for their deck. So that's definitely like from text to image. That's something people have been using for 2 years, at least 2 years already. And but a lot of like so for people to I feel like there are two group of people. So for the people who are using the stories, traditional storytellers, they're using AI to create their deck. But then for the people who are using AI to create videos to tell stories are another group of people. These group of people, they're not really from like maybe directing backgrounds, not from like writing background. They're mainly from like maybe special visual effects, or they're from um, or maybe they're like designer backgrounds or something like that, and they're not traditional storytellers. So a lot of content we have seen, they don't really have a good story, and because these people they haven't like moved there yet, so there's still a gap in between. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about technology. You already mentioned the tech stack, or some of the, AI tools you use, right? Midjourney, VO3. What is the third one you mentioned?
Flux.
And what does it do? I'm not familiar with it.
Flux is also another image software AI, and I use that for character consistency because for Midjourney is very good at creating cinematic stills, but then if I want to create the next shot of the same person, it's a little bit hard to keep to keep consistency. But Flux is very good at that. So I'm always like after I got the images from Midjourney and I import to Flux and to get the same person to get the next shot for the same person. Yeah.
And then obviously you are using ChatGPT to, as a kind of a script generator or brainstorming partner, right? A lot, I'm assuming. So just for this kind of the short form video, it sounds to me that if I understand correctly, the creativity will come from you, but the actual image generation or the video generation, is it true that 100% done by the AI? I mean, you of course will do a lot of adjustment, but in terms of the image and the video, it's 100% done by AI, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. The reason I'm thinking about it is it's quite closer to the programmer's world, the software engineer's world, right? Of course, not everyone is getting there, but we are getting to a world that code is written by AI, but that doesn't mean, software engineers do not have a job, because software engineer is going
Exactly.
to, orchestrate, is going to supervise AI,
Exactly.
right? Because whatever AI is out, give to me, it may or may not work, or I need to direct AI, I need to orchestrate it. So we are moving towards the world that, close to 100% of the code is written by AI, but software engineers are still very important. So it's kind of very similar from that nature.
Yeah, I agree because um at the end of the day you still need someone who have the professionalism or the taste to supervise the process. So for whoever like junior roles that's sort of being replaced for now, I think that's also an opportunity for for them to learn more about their own industry and to become the supervisor. So I think that's the way out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very similar to software engineering world, where my view is that every engineer should become a software engineering manager, because managing AI, sort of a engineer, right? And if you are not able to promote yourself fast enough, then you might be outdated. But
Yeah.
if you are able to promote yourself to be that supervisor, and then or even director or VP of engineer, you still have a job.
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. So let's talk about the cost aspect, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you're already moving to this sort of the social, producing those short form video. Maybe you can tell us the exact number, or maybe, just at least tell us the order of magnitude, right? Used to, hey, Howie, in the past, I do this kind of
Mm.
movie, or the video, it would cost this much. Now it's like this much, or 1/10, or maybe it's never the cost, it's the speed. Can you
Yeah.
give us some, inputs on that?
So I think for the speed, it's not, I mean, AI hasn't like become that significantly like, faster than live action production.
I mean,
So
it's not. You mean it's not?
uh, I'm saying like I'll give example. So I was shooting my short films like at school NYU before, and then like each like my thesis project I spent about 30K US dollars, and I spent 2 days of shooting, and then I made, so in the end I have about like 7 minutes film, and but for I also gonna need like 2, 3 days to generate all the images, or even longer, because nowadays there's still a lot of uncertainties about AI. You still have to like keep generating and until like you find the good ones you like. So that's the whole process takes actually a long time. So I'm saying like this kind of production, I feel like live action and AI maybe is about the same speed nowadays, or maybe some parts AI may be faster. For example, like the visual effects scenes, like oh, I want explosion for like for real production, I have to like set up the whole thing. I have to prepare. I have so many people on set to make sure it's safety and stuff. But then for AI, I just like type in the words, like just one sentence, and then I click, and that's it. So maybe these kind of things are definitely like this is faster, but then I feel like the whole production for AI is still like I need a lot of time to generate image and turn into videos. And that's a lot of trial. And but for cost wise, I so for my short was cost about 30K, and but for AI to generate a 7 minutes film, I think it cost me about $1,000.
And
And
then this is what you are paying for VO3, the Midjourney, Flux, right?
yeah, it's actually like lower than that, but then I'm just saying like if I use up all of my credits, I have to top up again. So that's about a
Roughly,
thousand.
roughly. So 30K to 1K. And then that 1,000, that's your fee, that the cost to those, vendors. And eventually they pay NVIDIA for that. So Jensen Huang gets most of the $1,000.
That's true.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and then,
But if
by the way, when Juefang and I met the last time, it was, Jensen Huang was doing a keynote speech. Actually, no, doing a fireside chat. And I kind of talked to lots of people, and then I felt like everyone I talked to, that weekend, eventually we are all paying for
for him,
for Jensen Huang's sort of the invoice.
true.
um, uh, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, feel free to throw them in the chat or speak up, whatever you'd like.
So another question, we were talking about at the beginning of the show that the Emmy film is going to be powered by Neo. I'm, that serious that's going to happen. But at the same time, when do you think the AI generated movie is going to win those, Emmy, Oscar, or it's already happening? So can you give us,
Um,
the lay of the land?
I think, for example, Everything Everywhere All at Once, they use AI for some of their visual effects, and that's a little bit. So I would say that's more like a visual effects step tool, not really like replacing the whole creative stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we should differentiate the two. I'm pretty sure AI is like, is everywhere in every movie. That's a given. But the kind of the process workflow you talking about, it's an AI
Mhm.
native workflow, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about AI native workflow based film.
I don't think they will ever win an Oscar or Emmy because of the ethic issue about AI, because AI is trained based on all of the existing data. And that's why Hollywood is so resisting this because some of the creators' work they have been used to train this. And yeah, then they're not really embracing right now. So I don't see any like a world's gonna accept this. And if you're
Interesting. You are basically saying that, with the current culture, no way. That's what you're saying.
yeah,
However,
but
we all know that,
because
when there could be outside pressure, right? When you and the others, generate great movies, right? Great films left and right, people have to relook at it, and not this year, not next year, but at some point, right?
yeah, there are actually a lot of AI film festivals coming up since 3 years ago. So maybe like over a decade, there are gonna be another like AI native Oscar. So like, and I think there are gonna be maybe two group of people, and some of the people who are like embracing AI, they're gonna join this festival. But for those traditional filmmakers, they're still like running for those awards. And I think those awards may not still gonna be there, just the, like a Tony's award for theaters, right? So like it's still gonna be there. It's just like an art form now, a smaller scale art form. That's what I'm seeing that. Yeah.
You mentioned that you won some award in Canada. What is that? Is that an AI sort of the award, or what is that one?
So that's not a AI film festival. Fantasia International Film Festival is one of they have a film market. It's like actually the biggest genre film market in the US. And the film market is also hosted by Cannes, actually do film. So they're doing that with Fantasia together. And so my projects, my feature script was selected for the market. So I can go to the market to pitch my projects to all the studios or the salespeople. And so my pitch, we won the best pitch award over
And then
there.
that's an AI native pitch.
Yes, I use AI to generate all the visuals.
Right.
90%, yeah.
Right, right, right. I know that, in some part of the in some industries, things moving slower than some other industries, right? My best guess is that, the AI native films, when one of them, will go viral, like everyone said, wow, this is amazing. Then at that point, the Hollywood has to be serious about it, right? Or more,
Yeah.
it's almost like you're looking for the ChatGPT moment for the film industry, because the AI was not being taken that seriously, and then I actually posted something a few days ago.
Hmm.
Actually, the same weekend, you and I met, for this
Yeah.
topic, and then Jensen Huang was there. So I met Jerry Yan, the founder of Yahoo, and then the first time I met Jerry Yang was 2017. And, he was an investor, and then went to him to pitch, my startup idea at the time. And I vividly remember, at that time, I cannot tell people I'm doing an AI-based company, because AI is being viewed as something, not even magical. It's just, not right even. So you have to tell people this is a machine learning based
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
technology, right? So
Yeah.
same thing with, other industry. If you tell people, hey, this is AI based film, I guess based on what you just said, it
Yeah.
not be looked upon as super positive, at least in the long form video that's going to be, potentially nominated for, whatever the big prize, big award, right? But I
Yeah.
think when you have the ChatGPT moment, everything changed, right? So I
Yeah.
think you need a ChatGPT moment for the film industry.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm very looking forward to that moment.
yeah. But anyways, I do want Emmy to be powered by Neo no matter what.
Sure, we can have a Neil award as well.
Oh, that's even better. Okay, Axel, you need to think about it.
Yeah, we're gonna be brainstorming the reward here, the venue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a true pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Juefang. That gives us a
having me.
pretty interesting view what's going on. And in about 20 minutes, we are going to have another session with AI, as an investor, sort of in the AI space. We are going to, today we have two sort of slots talking about AI. The first one, I learned so much. Thank you, Juefang, and talk to you soon again.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.